Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Today's guests are the founders of a new app. It's a dating app called Blink. I want to introduce you to both Laura and Taly. Welcome, ladies, to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so we were kind of just joking about this, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so I'm going to let you introduce yourselves and your titles.
Awesome. So I guess I'll go first. My name is Taly Matiteyahu, and I am co-founder and CEO of Blink Date. And I'll kick it over to Laura to introduce herself.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Laura Ciccone, and I am co-founder and COO of Blink Date.
Well, so happy to have you both on today because I know you have a new innovative product because people are probably thinking another dating app. And, when I talked to you, someone introduced us and I said, wow, what really sets you all apart? And then I heard what you had to say. And I was like, okay, this is really different. I like it. And it seems to be the new nuance in apps. So we're going to talk about it because you all are raising funding for this app. But first, I want to talk a little bit about your backgrounds because I understand, Taly, your background is in the legal arena. Is that right?
Yep. I'm a lawyer by education, but took a few left turns.
Right. And work with such big companies as like Netflix, right?
Yep. I spent a couple of years at Netflix. I was at Datadog and spent some time doing product management at Evisort, a legal tech company.
Very cool. So I bet what you're doing now is a lot more fun.
Yes. I mean,
Right?
Netflix was also fun and Datadog, they were all fun. But this is definitely way more fun.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun to do your own thing too.
Yes.
As all of us entrepreneurs know, that's the secret. It really is the most fun thing to do. And now, Laura, COO, product development. It's something you've always done. It sounds like you eat, live, and breathe product development. Tell us a little bit about your background in this arena.
Yeah, so I actually got into the tech world and product management specifically, kind of on a whim. I used to teach people how to not blow themselves up when managing hazardous materials. And we used to do a lot of shipping, and we had this really old Access database that took care of all of that. So our director of technology at the time approached me and said, hey, this is kind of a really bad piece of software. Do you want to help me revolutionize the way that we do this? And that was my first introduction. And that was about 8 years ago. And so my background is in mostly product management, mostly working in marketplaces. And it's been one of the highlights of my career. And I'm forever happy and grateful that I was introduced into the tech world, because otherwise I don't know how I would have gotten in here, because it just wasn't even on my radar.
And, we were just joking about, I said, you were saying how much fun it is, the product innovation and stuff. I said, I've spoken about like a true product developer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just a little point of clarification. So I'm not technical myself, but I do work with our engineering resources.
Right. So you kind of come up with the ideas.
Yeah, it's that ideas come from everywhere. So it's more about how do we take those ideas and get them into a state that is ready to be worked on, and that we have all of the nitty-gritty details and workflows of what happens in this kind of off-case scenario that you might not otherwise be thinking of. And then once everything is ready, going through that really intensive QA process to make sure that we're not releasing something that people can't ultimately use, which is, no, that would be bad. We don't like that.
Right.
And then working with our customers too. Don't sell yourself short. You take it all the way to the end, to releasing it and getting into the customer's hands too.
Yeah. It sounds like a pretty major, important part of the whole concept, right? And a lot of fun, according to you. And when we were just chatting, it's something that you really love. And, as an entrepreneur, you have to be doing something that you're super passionate about. I wanted to mention too that Taly, you said you were originally from Philly, and at this time you're in New York. Is that right?
Yep. I am from Philadelphia originally, spent some time living in South Jersey, and then went to school, both undergrad and law school in New York City, and mostly stuck around with a short detour to Los Angeles, but back on the East Coast and very happy to be here.
Right. And an impressive background, NYU, Columbia, That's
The rival schools. I had to try both of them.
right. And then Laura Cornell, pretty impressive there. I mean, you guys have incredible educational backgrounds. And how did you two connect? Wondering how you came into business together. And, I see you come with two different strengths, and it's always so important in a business partnership that each person brings something different to the table. Would you agree?
Yes,
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you all connect?
Yeah, so we actually connected when Laura's dogs slid into my dog's DMs on Instagram. So we both have Instagram accounts for our pups, and we both have a black and tan Shiba. I also have a Klikai, and so we're both dog people. And Laura started responding to the things that I was posting on their account. And she was living in Boston at the time. I was still in New York, and we met a couple times on the East Coast, but we were in different cities. And we happened to move to Los Angeles right around the same time and started hanging out in real life. Texting a lot, sending each other lots of gifts and funny things. And I started working on Blink in March of 2020 and would text her and ask her questions and just kind of brainstorm with her. And she always had such incredible ideas and was so generous with her knowledge and experience. And eventually I invited her to join me. And, it's been a year and a half, I think, since then. Mm-hmm. Our dogs are still friends. Our dogs are pals. I'm sadly no longer in the same city as her, so we don't get to see each other in person as much as we used to. But it was a really it was an Instagram into reality friendship, and I'm really grateful for it. So thank you for sliding into my DMs, Laura, all those years ago.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you for responding.
That's incredible. You guys met through Instagram. I love that story. And did you both? So you both were gung-ho about this idea of this new type of dating app that did not exist. And you both thought, wow, this is like revolutionary, right? I feel like it falls in the vein of some of these new things popping up that are the group gathering places where it's audio only. Trying to think of the name of a couple of them. You
Twitter
all
Spaces, Clubhouse.
Clubhouse is what I was trying to think of. Yeah. Which I love that idea, and to take it over into a dating app, I think is really ingenious. So let's now talk about the app, because I know everybody's going to want to know, what is Blink and how do they get it? Do they just download the Blink app?
Yeah, so folks can download the Blink app on the App or Google Play Store. But I guess I'm curious, I would love to share kind of the origin story of Blink and how we came to build it, because although Clubhouse exists now, it didn't actually exist when we first conceptualized the concept. Wow. And the inspiration for Blink actually came from eating in the dark in a blackout restaurant and getting seated with total strangers and having a conversation with them, and really being able to open up and have a conversation without any preconceived conceptions about who they were. And we had a really beautiful evening together, had a great conversation. And I saw the people that I was speaking with for the first time after the dinner. And I realized that had I seen them before the dinner, I probably wouldn't have had that same conversation, if any conversation, just because I would have assumed that we'd have nothing in common. And in online dating today, we make assumptions every single day based on appearances, typically in less than 1 second, based on attractiveness or race. And it keeps people from connecting. And we don't believe love is blind. We know it isn't. Attraction is important in a relationship, but psychologically, our attraction to people changes as we get to know them. And we don't get the opportunity to actually have that happen in existing dating apps where you're swiping on a profile and photos and things like that. And so the concept for Blink was really born out of giving people a chance to get to know one another for who they are, rather than, again, a photograph with some snippets that may or may not be true, or may not just be a version of someone. And so we're really excited to bring it to daters. And Laura, I know you joined because you actually have a personal experience with online dating. So I don't know if you want to share that, but yeah, we're really excited to give daters something new.
I love it. I love your excitement about it. I love how it got started. And it reminds me of like the show The Voice. It's like the dating version of The Voice, where they can't see the singer, and they're going totally on their singing capacity, their voice. And that's what it reminded me of when you told me about it. And I thought, this is really a cool idea, because and in the end, is it about do you connect with and really like the person? And so I feel like so many of my friends, I think it's just human nature. They do basic totally on looks. Oh, I don't like the way that person looks. Like you said, how can you assess everything from a photo? It's almost crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what you all are doing makes perfect sense. So yeah, Laura, share your story with us about.
Yeah. So one of the things that people often think about when they think about dating apps is they think about amazing profiles and terrible profiles, when in reality, the overwhelming majority of them are really quite mediocre. And it's really hard to say, well, do I like this person? Do I not like this person? And it can feel really stressful when you're in that moment, because you don't know if you're swiping away someone that could be a perfect match for you or not, based on, your mood, a whim, a gut feeling, or whatever that might be. And for me, I was on all the dating apps for pretty much from when they all came out, like the actual apps, not just the online websites. And ultimately, I've been with my partner for 6.5 years now at this point, and his profile was fine. It was not the most amazing thing, and it wasn't the worst profile that I've ever seen. But it was just so fascinating, because once we actually got on a date with each other, I realized that this was my person after going on so many different dates. And I had when Taly was sharing with me the idea for her dating app, I was like, yeah, I would have known just by talking to him for a few minutes that we would have been a great connection with each other, regardless of what he looked like, because he's smart, he's funny, he's witty, he has a big personality. I have a big personality, and I kind of need someone to go toe to toe with me on those sorts of things. And it just makes me so sad to see these swiping statistics. And you see people, the average woman, it takes her about 6,500 swipes to get to one date. For men, it's 57,000. And those are people, right? Swiping on that many people, it's so inefficient, and you miss out on so many great opportunities. And so we're just really excited to kind of flip that script and really give people a more genuine way to connect with each other that feels more like actually dating, and something that makes you feel more like a human and connected to other people, versus, swiping like it's Candy Crush, which that can be fun too. Like there's a time and a place for that. That's not necessarily how you want to lead when you're looking for something a little more meaningful.
Yeah, that was a great description. I mean, I loved your analogy of having, met your person. But you're right. I mean, yeah, looks is important, that you have to be attracted, but number one, are you attracted to their insides, to their personality, to their heart, to their values, right? I mean, that really should come first. That's what I love about your app. It's just that comes first. The other comes second. We have it wrong, in inverting that. And that's what our culture and society has done. And I love that you're turning it on its ear. So exactly how does the app work? I think that's how people want to understand, if they haven't downloaded it yet. They download the app, and then what happens?
Yeah, so folks sign up in less than a minute. Actually, it's a very quick sign up process. They just share their name, sexuality, age, geographic preference, and a couple lifestyle choices. If they, what their religion is, if they smoke, drink, things that go into kind of deciding how you want to proceed with your life and kind of lead your day-to-day life. And once they finish that, they upload a single photo. So we're not looking for 5 or 6 photos for people to swipe through. And after they finish that process, they let us know when they're free. And once we know that, we can schedule them for their first dates. And the dates happen through the app. And they have essentially a calendar. So once a date is scheduled, it'll show up on their calendar, and they can join directly from the app. They're 10-minute long dates, which is, we found a really great amount of time to get to know someone, but not feel too quick that it's too rushed. And after the date, we ask them how it went. And if it went well, then we'll show them the photos. So like we said, flipping the script and putting the inside
so
first.
They don't see the photo till after. I was curious about that. So they submit a schedule of what's good for them, like Friday at 7, Saturday at 3, and then somebody clicks on it, almost like a calendar schedule.
Yeah. So we are currently giving folks options, sort of like in the evening time slots when you might go on a real date, or on a weekend, we're doing, the afternoon and evening slots. And yeah, people tell us when they're free, and we'll look for somebody who matches their criteria, the age preference, geographic preference, and sexuality, and pair them for that 10-minute date directly, just based on when they're free. And so like Laura was saying, for women, it takes 6,500 swipe. For a typical woman, for a typical man, it takes 57,000. With us, it takes 0 swipes. All it takes is telling us when you have 15 minutes and you have a date.
I love this. And is it for all people? Like, is it for, straight dates? Is it for gay dates? Is it for trans dates? Does it fit everybody?
Yeah, so it is for everybody. It's actually, I like to think of it as it's for the rest of us. So if you're not in the top 20% of what the algorithm wants on a lot of these other dating apps, you don't have a great first experience or even a long-term experience. And so we're finding that people who are anything other than just anyone, like you can actually have an amazing personality, be super, super hot, and everything in between. You can be straight, you can be gay, you can be trans. We also have people in the polyamorous community that are very into our calendar for scheduled dating. So we're really happy that we're really resonating with a lot of groups that are typically like they're majorities of our population, but they're underrepresented because of their ethnicity, their race, those sorts of things. And so we really like to think of us as the app for, the everyday person that is looking for something more meaningful.
You're democratizing dating.
Yes. There you go. That's a buzzword for us.
I love it. It's so innovative. I can't wait to tell my friends about it, my single friends.
Yes, tell them. We want to know what they think.
I definitely will. I think they're going to dig this. I think it's brilliant. You are starting to raise funds for it, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
What vehicle are you going to do that? How could someone invest in a really creative app like this that is a ground floor opportunity? How could they do that?
Yeah, we're raising through a safe, and it has I guess we have a cap now, but if we have somebody who wants to lead and kind of negotiate any terms, we are open to offers, but we currently have a $7 million cap on safe.
Fantastic. And you have a pitch deck if somebody's interested, so they can take a look at that. They could reach out to you all. How would they reach you? Are you both on LinkedIn?
We are both on LinkedIn, or they could email us. Our email addresses are just our first names at theblinkdate.com.
At what again?
Theblinkdate.com.
Theblinkdate.com. Could they also go to theblinkdate.com and send an email?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Wonderful how they could connect with you if they're interested in that. So you decided to go the route of a safe as opposed to other options because you think that is makes the most sense for what you're doing, obviously.
Yeah, it's a pre-seed round. And so we want to close as quickly as we can, move as quickly as we can, and eventually we'll do a priced round down the line.
Right. So you're hoping to build it in the future, maybe into a Series A and so forth?
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. What an exciting road for you all.
Yeah, we're super excited to be on this journey, and honestly, more excited to be giving daters an alternative to what's out there. It's been almost a decade with the same type of model with every single dating app, and it's time for something new, and we're excited to offer that.
It is time for something new, and this is innovative. Have you had some success stories where people have written to you and told you about their success?
Yeah, so we have a variety of different successes. So while we were originally trying to get the name out there, we actually did an in-person event where we kind of took the concept of the app and had an application of it in person. And the last time that we connected with one of the couples, they were kind of they were still going steady with each other. In terms of the app itself, because we are still so early, we did only launch a few months ago. So success is something that we'll probably see a lot more stories coming in the future. But we will get emails from people after they've gone on their date. If they like their date, don't like their date, we'll get a lot of really positive feedback of saying that was amazing. I really enjoyed the experience. It was so much fun. And one of our favorite things that we did before kind of anything related to the app itself is we actually have a podcast version. So if anyone is like, hey, what does it actually sound like to go on a voice first date with somebody? If people want to check out Date in a Blink, that's the podcast version of our app. You can actually listen in on what it sounds like to go on these first dates. You can hear what goes well, what doesn't go well, things you might want to try, get some interesting questions for yourself.
Things you might not want to do.
Yeah, things you might not want to do.
Yeah. I love that. What's the name of the podcast? Date in a Blink?
Yeah, Date in a Blink.
Date in a Blink. I guess you're on all the outlets, Apple, Spotify, so forth. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool, ladies. I just love when somebody comes up with something that's game changing and not the same old, And anybody would be so lucky to invest in the ground floor of this. And there are more and more VCs that are doing pre-seed. So I hope to connect you to some of those. We've just been filming for our documentary that is about the underfunding of women, but how more and more female founded funds are popping up and how they're very focused on investing in women, people of color, and LGBTQ, which are all the underserved communities that are getting less than 2% of all the venture capital funding. So we are hoping to turn that on its ear and help women like yourselves get funding, because it's so important to society to have new and innovative products like what you're doing. And let's face it, one of the most important things in our life is meeting the right partner. Mm-hmm. So where this might sound like, it's not a, high level thinking, application, it really is. It's one of the most important things we do in our life is meeting that right partner that influences, impacts, and supports our life. And it's so important to, connect with the right person. And I feel like this is an incredible formula for people not to be swayed by just looks, but really get to know someone's integrity, values, personality, heart. Does it match theirs? And, my wife and I always say, we're so glad we became friends first because we really liked each other. And so therefore, when it grew into, love, it was like, and of course, P.S. she's beautiful. But at the same time, I just really liked her heart, her personality, her values, her ideals, they matched mine. And so I realized, that has to come first. And so many people in our society base everything on looks. And, it's just it's really a downfall of our society. And so, bravo to you ladies to solve this issue. See, it takes women to change up the culture. And I love that. So everybody needs to go download their Blink. When they go into the app, they just put in Blink.
Blink Date. We share Blink with Blink Security, Blink Fitness, and all these other Blinks. But if they type in Blink Date, they will find us.
Blink Date.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. I will be telling my friends immediately.
Thank you.
And sharing the word with other investors so that we can get you all some angel investors or venture capital or whatever makes sense to get this off the ground, because you guys have a winner here, I believe. So thank you, Laura and Taly, both for being on and sharing this with us. People can reach you all on LinkedIn or again, give me the website.
www.theblinkdate.com.
Theblinkdate.com. Sign up today, everybody, if you're single.
Yes, if you're single and looking.
And thank you so much for tuning in to us. You can find out about our podcasts, our e-course, our events. Our e-course is called 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, and everything's at sheangelinvestors.com. And of course, you can follow me, Catherine Gray, at Invest in Her on Instagram. And we are on all the social media, as is Blink Dating, right? You're on all the social media. Thanks so much for tuning in. Everybody, make it a great week. Remember to invest in her. It's so important that women support women. Take care. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Remember, if you're looking to launch a business or grow your business, check out our e-course, 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, available at sheangelinvestors.com.